the grace of God bless man and every woman in this land. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Whatever comes to meet us, know the darkness won't defeat us. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Some say the end is coming, to set our souls running, but I say, stay strong and keep your faith alive. Let's all come together, take care of each other. Stay strong and keep your faith.
This is Rajasic Energy Balancing Session. We begin by orienting ourselves to the powers of nature, the east, the south, the west, the north, the transcendental intelligences which are the roots of our being. Next, we establish our fulcrums, really connecting to the earth, feeling our legs like roots which draw energy from the earth and have their center below the navel. We then feel the current of energy flowing from heaven to earth through our spines, down through our tailbones, and picture a grounding cord going deep into the earth. We want to center your balancing session. We begin by orienting ourselves to the powers of nature, the east, the south, the west, the north, the transcendental intelligences which are the roots of our being. Next, we establish our fulcrums, really connecting to the earth, feeling our legs like roots which draw energy from the earth and have their center below the navel. We then feel the current of energy flowing from heaven to earth through our spines, down through our tailbones, and picture a grounding cord going deep into the earth. You want to center yourself deep in the core of this current. We then center ourselves in our healing intention, in our compassionate intention, and we move into the first of our cradles. We begin our Rajasic session with our quiet heart cradle, sattvic cradle, to innervate the parasympathetic nervous system and to bring the client into a relaxed and centered place. We cradle the skull in our left hand, turn the skull so we can bring the skull into the palm of our right hand, and again lift the skull, resting the skull on our both hands with our index fingers paralleling the carotid arteries, thus paralleling the vagus nerve and innervating the parasympathetic nervous system. Our thumbs are low if possible. The body has two modes: parasympathetic, where our focus is inner to nurturance and well-being, and sympathetic, which is focuses activity in the world, stress, fight, flight. By making a contact here at the cranial parasympathetic nerves, we begin a process to take the body out of the world, take the energy out of the musculature, out of stress and tension, into a place of deep relaxation and nurturance. We always begin our session with this parasympathetic innervation. Practitioner takes deep breaths, and as we release the breath, we let our shoulders relax. Deep breaths, feeling our arms, bringing our attention into our hands. Deep breaths. Just checking in with your body if there's any way that you can be more relaxed, more centered. Your energy could be more grounded, more coherent. Moving to make your contact, make your posture as effortless as possible. The more relaxed, the more centered, the more grounded you are, the more coherent your energy, and the more profound its resonance with the healing potency of the soul. The second principle that we're cultivating is therapeutic presence. presence is the quality of the soul, and our presence is our most potent healing energy. We cultivate presence by being in the presence of the life force. Your attention is in your hands, feeling for the life force, the breath, the pulse, the heartbeat, feeling for energy, tingling, vibration, softening, feeling for heat, feeling for more coherence and ease, feeling for the primary respiratory mechanism, feeling for the wobbling as the energy unwinds into more coherence and into more receptivity to the inner potency of the finer forces of higher intelligence. When we feel the client is in a parasympathetic place, that they're much more relaxed and present, and we can gently remove our hands. And if you like, you could hold a second sattvic cradle. If you like, you could hold a quiet mind cradle, or if you prefer, you could be holding the quiet heart cradle longer. In our model, the energy of the body is mental energy. These are mind currents, currents of intelligence that are flowing through the body. Here you have your hands, your two hands cradling the brain, and the influence of your loving hands is affecting the bioresonance of the mind currents that are flowing out of the brain into the central nervous system, that your sattvic contact is balancing these currents, helping them to move into more coherence and into a more profound resonance with the soul. When you feel heat being released, or when you feel intuitively more coherence in the contact, you can move your hand, shake your fingers towards the earth. Fire is the vital energy in the body. Here we're feeling our feet on the earth, we're relaxing our knees, we're grounding and centering as we begin to work with fire, the vital energy in the body. It rules the sympathetic nervous system, the working energy in the body, and it rules everything in the body that's red, all of the red tissue that functions as the organs, all of the red musculature that directs our work and creativity into the world. Bring the client nice and close to you so you can move from a centered place. You can have the client guide you to their navel, and here we're making a contact just below the navel, spiraling our right hand, our fiery hand, our active hand, our yang hand into the fire center to add our fiery energy to its field. The left hand is at the brow center, at the third eye. This is the center of the fiery spiral of vital energy that radiates up from the earth and spirals from the navel as our vitality and passion. The third eye is the center of what we call the involutionary current, the energy moving from heaven to earth and from within to without. It's where universal creative energy, Prakriti, steps down into our individual creative energy. So here we're balancing these two levels of fire, the fire of vision with the fire of vitality. So here it's very similar to what we did in the sattvic contact, but now it's a bit more Rajasic. So you want to find the quality of vibration, a quality of movement, a quality of resonance that's vital but not invasive. And gently vibrating the fire center, but not invasive. Then you move into stillness and you're very present in your hands. We're going to do 3 or 4 contacts of rhythm and then stillness. Here you want to find a rhythm that rolls through the body easily and effortlessly without being invasive. Sometimes in polarity this used to be called a jelly roll. And then stillness. 3 or 4 cycles, 30 or 40 seconds, rippling or rhythm through the body, and then 15, 20 seconds of stillness and presence with your total attention focused on your hands, feeling for a current between your 2 hands. When you feel that current, or you feel heat or energy between your hands, you can shake your fingers off towards the earth, and we move down to the client's feet. At the feet, we're going to stretch the legs a bit and bring the malleola together to ascertain which is the longest, the most relaxed leg. And we'll begin our footwork at the longest, the most relaxed leg. Here we're going to have the client breathing into the Achilles tendon. The Achilles tendon is a very important reflex to the sympathetic nervous system that helps us to begin to release the tension and holding in the sympathetic nervous system. You have the client take a deep breath. Here we're using our hip, and as they breathe out, we're stretching the ankle, hopefully stretching the Achilles tendon. Deep breath, and then it's longest. Another breath. As they breathe out, breath. Now we make a contact on the anterior tibialis, which is a reflex to the emotional seat of the fire principle. Here, on the right leg, it's a reflex to the gallbladder, the decision maker, where our feelings become action. So we want to make a contact, a firm contact, softening up this reflex, breaking through the armoring and tension in this reflex. We're also making a contact here on the core. So we're doing a more stimulating contact at the foot. We're sending ripples of energy through the body using the anterior tibialis and the FLH as a fulcrum. It's a gentle but rhythmic contact, first stimulating clockwise for 20 or 25 cycles, then stillness and presence, feeling for the energy, and then counterclockwise. Stillness, inviting the client to breathe deeply into their feet. Breath is energy. If you want your session to be powerful and energetic, vibrant, you want to keep the client breathing deeply throughout the session. Again, clockwise, Rajasic, sending ripples of energy through all of the joints of the body, mobilizing the joints. Stillness and presence, and counterclockwise. You're welcome to make this contact just as fiery and vibrant as you're comfortable with, just as long as it's not invasive or abrupt for the client. Or you're welcome to make it as subtle and as present as you feel comfortable with. Depending on your style, you're going to find your own rhythm and your own approach. Do the same thing on the other foot. Now we move to the short leg side. Have the client take a deep breath. Notice the way we're using our hip against our hand to do the stretch, just leaning into it, making it really easy. Deep breath, and as they release, stretching the foot longest. Deep breath. Deep breath. Then we move into our rotations. We're making a contact with our air finger on the anterior tibialis right at the ankle, and with our thumb, either finger, below the malleola. Stimulating, Rajasic, sending a rippling through the body. Stillness, then the opposite direction. It's best if during the stillness you stop, really feel the energy, and also during the stillness you invite the client to breathe into the contact. Deep breath, breathe into the contact, feeling for pulse, feeling for energy, and then again a second cycle of Rajasic. And stillness, deep breath, and then Rajasic in the opposite direction. Ending contact with stillness, presence, deep breath. Now, remember when we introduced this session, we talked about 3 ways that we work with fire in the body. First was the fire principle, where energy stepped down at the brow center and then about eyes width from center, moved through the body as a current, which crossed over at the navel and had its negative field reflex at the first phalange of the air toe. So we're going to be stimulating the fire principle, a real root of our vitality in the body. We're going to ask the client's permission. May I have permission to do tamasic contact? It may hurt for an instant, but it'll be really good for you.
Yes.
Thank you. So we just lean into that toe, and then we move to the first phalange on either side of the air toe, and we pinch side to side just for an instant. Top to bottom, just for an instant. Work this Rajasically for 30 or 40 seconds. Stretching the tendons, mobilizing the joints, then hold satvically. Stimulating this negative field current, a negative field stimulates the whole fire principle current. The principle that underlies the level of prana and vitality, the level of life force and vitality in the body. Next, we're going to start working with all the toes, working them rajasically, working from gross to subtle. Again, working with the long line currents. When you work with the long line currents, you're working with the body as a whole. Each current underlies the energy field of the body on a molecular level. So here when you're working with this earth toe, you're working with the boundaries, you're working with the structure, you're ultimately working with the processes that rule elimination in the body. So again, we're working to stretch the tendons, mobilize the joints. We're paying attention to the base of the toes, rajasically, holding satvically. Deep breath. Next, with the water toes, we're working with all the processes in the body that are governed by this keynote of bioresonance that we call water. All of the cleansing processes and the reproductive urogenital system. Again, we're stretching the tendons, we're mobilizing the joints. The toes are the most negative field reflex to the chakras, and if you're willing to do deep work on the toes, they're the grounding point for these long line currents emanating from the chakras. If you're willing to do some deep work here, you can facilitate an energy balancing session where the client just feels energy streaming through their body and their whole body is tingling. And doing deep work at the toes is the key to opening up these grounding patterns and stimulating the long line currents in such a vital and powerful way. Ending satvically, client breathing into the contact. In this fire session, you want to put a lot of juice into the fire toes, the middle toes, which resonate, which radiate from the fire chakra. And this can be really a Rajasic contact, very stimulating, mobilizing the joints, stretching the tendons, and then ending in stillness and presence, client breathing into the contact. Deep breath. At the air toes, we're again going to pinch side to side, top to bottom, work them Rajasically, and hold sattvically. We only do tamasic work for an instant to get a reaction, to bring to the surface the resistance in the field. Next, we're working the webbing between the ether and air toes, which reflexes to the shoulders, trapezius, and thoracic inlet. The shoulders are an important positive fiery field of the body, and it's really important to work with these reflexes. Rajasic, 20, 30, 40 seconds, and then sattvic. The big toe is a reflex to Aries, and Aries is part of the fire elemental triad of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So you want to work this big toe thoroughly and enthusiastically in this fire energy balancing session. Working with the sinus reflexes on the top of the toe, working with the reflexes to the master gland, the pineal and pituitary, thyroid, and thymus down the midline. Put a lot of energy into the big toes. Deep breath. Now we work with reflexes to the umbilicus, reflexes to the fire center. Here we're working where the fire center is behind the navel and it's midline. The fire center on the feet, the reflexes are at the heel on the midline. Here you want to get down really low and make a really young contact. Midline, above the heel. Stimulating, again, sending a current just rippling through the body to the navel. 30 or 40 seconds of stimulation, and then stillness and presence. We'll do 3 or 4 cycles of stimulating this vital center at its negative field reflexes. Then we make a contact, again, reflexes to the emotional seats of the fire principle, right here at the diaphragm and heart, with a corresponding reflex underneath the ball of the foot. Stimulating Rajasically and sattvically. A little gentler contact than we made at the fire center reflexes at the heel. Now we're ready to put 10 fingers on 10 toes and tone together into this solar plexus with a tone Ra. Picture radiance as we open to the blessings of Grandfather Fire, the solar radiance, blessings of vitality, creativity, personal power, and joy. Picturing a golden white light, like the luster of golden jewelry or the luster around a saint or a baby, radiating through your solar plexus, releasing any resistance or negativity, blessing you with vitality and joy. Deep breath. We shake our fingers off. Now we move to the client's right side. Client's nice and close to us on the table. And we're continuing to strengthen the fire principle. We identify the client's navel, and here we're going to bring all our fingers together so our all our energy is focused on our thumb, and we make a contact 2 finger widths below the navel at the fire center. And again, we make a contact at the brow center. Now notice our thumbs are pointing at each other. This technique is called bloodless surgery. In surgery, they cut out the problem. In our case, we bring the problem area back into resonance with its inherent vitality by pulsing vital energy through the resistance, bringing the tissue back to its natural resonance with nature and the cosmos. So this is a nice Rajasic resonance at the navel, stimulating for 30 or 40 seconds, and then stillness and presence, feeling for a current between our 2 hands. We'll do 2 or 3 or 4 cycles of stimulation and stillness, each cycle for 30 or 40 seconds until we feel a vital current between our 2 hands. When we start to feel that current, then we get a sense of completion in the contact. A second way to do this contact is where you strengthen the fire principle. Again, the fire principle steps down at the third eye and is about eyes width from center, and it's a field of energy moving through the body, crossing over the navel with its negative field contact at the first phalange of the air toe. So here we're going to be pumping vital energy from the vital center first to we're making our contact, we're feeling along the rib cage to our gallbladder reflex, our emotional seat of the fire principle. And fingers are all together, thumbs are pointing at each other, and we're stimulating a radiance of vital energy from our right thumb to a receptive point here at our left. Now during the stillness, if you feel a current or a pulse at your left, then you extend this current, extend this field to the clavicle. Thumbs pointed at each other. Strengthening the fire principle. You feel the energy between your thumbs, then you can move on. If you don't, you would do this again until you feel the field between your fingers. When you feel that, then we move to the jaw, and it's Rajasic. This is a reflex to the cechium, the other side sigmoid, Rajasic Sattvic. If you feel the current, then you would then move on to the third eye, Rajasic at the third eye. Then we do the same thing on the other side. Rib cage, Rajasic, Sattvic, you feel the current, move on to clavicle. Thumbs are pointed at each other, all of our fingers are focused within, Sattvic. Now, this is just a demo, so I'm moving through fairly quickly, but in your own work you want to take your time, feel for the energy at each contact, and continue to work until you actually feel the energy, feel the tingling, feel the current between your hands. Or intuitively feel a shift in the energy. Trust your intuition. Shake your fingers off. Now we're going to make sure this vital energy from the hara, from the vital center, is getting down to the negative field at the feet. So here, we're going to bring the client's legs up into a frog-like position, being careful to drape them, respect their privacy. Our left thumb is going to be at the heel, at the umbilical reflexes, midline. Our right thumb is going to be 2 finger widths below the navel at our hara. From the negative field, our left thumb is at the reflexes to the umbilicus, midline above the heel. Our right thumb is continuing to stimulate the fire center. We're stimulating the negative field reflexes to the navel and the fire center, which are midline at the heel. Again, the superior hand is Rajasic at the fire center, and the thumb that is at the heel is receptive. You do this 2 or 3 times until you start feeling a pulse from the fire center at its negative field reflex at the heel. Once you feel that pulse, then you can bring the legs down. And we work with the fire element triad in this case, Leo Sagittarius. So our right hand spirals into the solar plexus, Leo, and our left hand makes a contact on the thigh, Sagittarius. And it's again a nice Rajasic. Now here we're feeling for hardness, armoring, resistance in the energy field of the thighs. You feel an area that feels hard, tense, resistant, then you stop, have the client breathe into it, bring the client's presence into it, and then you continue Rajasic. We do both sides from the client's left side, both sides with our right hand at the client's navel. If you find tension, realize that you and your energy balancing are a catalyst. You don't have to work it all out. The client's presence and the energetic work you're doing will be a catalyst to the release and the integration. Deep breath. When you intuitively feel a sense of completion, we're going to hold the client's draping so the client can turn over for a 6-pointed star. The 6-pointed star is really an amazing bodywork contact because you're going to feel the tissue really soften and release. And in the 6-pointed star, we use our polarity principles, our energy field principles, and our understanding of the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system to release the tension in the whole of the torso. And if you're a massage therapist, this will be a polarity contact that you'll use in every single session. Often in massage, you'll spend 20 minutes or a half hour releasing tension in the neck and shoulders. And in this contact, you easily release tension in just a few minutes. So first, you're going to feel your client is lying on their belly with their head facing you. You make a contact with your superior hand at the trapezius, feeling for the tension, feeling for the holding in this area. Next, you're going to use your forearm on the lateral margin of the sacrum to begin to stimulate the sacral parasympathetic nerves. Dr. Stone tells us that the spinal accessory nerves of the vagus nerve are in this area. So here we're innervating both the superior and inferior reflexes of the parasympathetic nervous system. So here we're making contact with spinal accessory nerves, and here we're S2, 3, and 4 to innervate the parasympathetic nervous system at the lateral margin of the sacrum. So it's a gentle stimulation, then you hold the lower contact still while the client takes a deep breath out the trapezius and breathes through the trapezius, telling the trapezius to let go. Again, your fingers are gently telling the trapezius to let go as well, stimulating Rajasically. Then your forearm moves into the buttocks, and the buttocks are an important sympathetic reflex. And you want to be stimulating in the buttocks until you feel heat in the contact. When you feel that heat, then your attention goes above. Have the client breathe through the trapezius, telling it to relax and let go. The actual reflex to the sympathetic to the shoulders is here in the hips, in the crest of the ilium. So we bring our thumbs in the crest of the ilium, our fingers into the acetabulum, and it's a wide, slow rocking as our attention is in our is up above, and we just feel a deep melting in the trapezius. Deep breath. If you don't get a total meltdown in the trapezius, then you do the whole process over again. Feeling for the holding in the trapezius, making your contact at the lateral margin on the parasympathetic nerves, stimulating them, then having client breathe in trapezius again as you gently stimulate through your fingertips. Let go, let go, let go. Then moving into the buttocks, stimulating the buttocks. And again, in the trapezius, let go, let go, let go, let go, as they breathe right into it. Then the actual release comes at the third station, where your thumbs are on the crest of the ilium, your fingers are in the acetabulum. It's a real wide rocking as the client lets go. You want to have the client turn their head the opposite side. You move to the opposite side of the table. You feel the holding in the trapezius, making your contact on the lateral margin of the sacrum, stimulating 15-20 seconds. Then having client breathe through the trapezius, deep breath. Let go, let go, let go. Speaking through your fingertips, telling the tissue to let go. Then you're in the buttock, important sympathetic nervous system reflexes, stimulating until you feel some heat, some of the resistance in the field coming to the surface. Then you're in trapezius time. Now let go, let go, let go, let go. Deep breath, breathe through trapezius time, let go. Then you bring your thumb into the crest of the ilium, fingers into the acetabulum, wide rocking as the client lets go, let go, let go, let go. And you feel a profound release in the trapezius, melting down, deep breath. Now we hold, we flick our fingers off, we hold the draping while the client turns over. We're finishing up our Rajasic session. We're bringing our thumbs into the trapezius, which are our positive field of fire in the body. In our model, the shoulders are a powerful positive field. The area above the diaphragm is the most major positive field in the body. So here we're stimulating that field. Our thumbs are on the trapezius, our hands are on the glenohumeral joint, and it's a rocking of the shoulders. Sometimes we call it a trapezius rock or an aura rock. Rocking for 30-40 seconds, and then stillness. Deeply present in your thumbs in the stillness. 3 or 4 cycles of rocking and then stillness. Deep breath. Now we bring our fire fingers towards the TMJ and have the client open really wide and then clench their jaws wide and clench and relax, and you identify the TMJ. The TMJ is analogous to the acetabulum and is again a really powerful center of fiery vital energy. In the polarity model, energy is always stepping down from subtle to gross. So the bones of the body are a very stable environment for the marrow and the plasma. And the plasma is a quality of resonance where some of the highest vibrational energy of our body steps down. And it steps down from plasma, which is ether predominant, into the joints, which are a center of movement, air predominant, into the muscles, which are fire predominant, and then the tendons, which are water predominant, into expression on the earth. So it's always very valuable to focus on joint mobilization as they're a really important nexus where vital energy flows into the body. So here we're stimulating rajasically and then sattwically. 2 or 3 cycles of stimulation and stillness until we feel current between our hands, or the client reports tingling under our hands. Again, the focus is right on the joint itself with a light tapona. Deep breath. And now we're finishing up our session with the cradle of the sages of old, the sattvic contact to finish up. Earth, fingers on the jaw, water at the lips, fire at the base of the nose, air at the third eye, and thumbs towards the crown chakra. Check in with your body if there's any way you can be more relaxed, centered. Let your hands be soft and gentle, deeply present in the hands, feeling for the energy. You may want to let the client know that after the session they shouldn't put themselves in any intense situation, that they should take some time to integrate, and that also you've done a lot to move their fire. They may have a lot of creative energy. Also, they may be really wide open emotionally and not to let themselves get into anything intense there. Their fire, their directed energy may be a lot more spontaneous and free. Gently removing the hands, shaking them off, and then we finish up with our brush off. We finish up with a brush off, again, feeling for the client's field, very present in your hands, crossing over at the neck, crossing over at the sacrum, flicking off towards the earth. Again, very present, blessing the client, caressing their aura, very present in your hands, feeling beautiful golden flow of grace through your hands, shaking off. Front of the body, moving in to feel the field, very present in your hands, moving down to the feet. Very present, feeling the energy, feeling the field, all the way down to the feet, shaking off. Here you're making a contact near the sacrum, near the umbilicus, not actually touching the body. You're working aurically, moving up, deep breath to the lips, shaking off at the lips. Do this twice to wake the client up. Look in the eyes, the windows of the soul, invite the client to hug you. Then it's useful to check in, find out how the client experienced the energy balancing, and to counsel them to be gentle with themselves after this session. Thank you. Namaste. Honor to the divine within. In the last contact, we caress the client's aura, blessing them. It's very special when the client sits up because they're in a very different relationship to the radiance of the sun, the radiance of the nucleus of our solar system. This is called the Vishwanara, the all-pervasive soul force. The practitioner wants to be really present in their hands, really feeling, moving in until you actually feel the energy of the aura under your hands. It'll feel magnetic, or it'll feel electric, and you're very present in your hands, blessing them, caressing their aura, and you cross over at the neck. You move down the field, very present in your hands, and you cross over at the sacrum. We're going to do this twice. Again, moving in until you feel the field under your hands, very present in your hands, crossing over at the neck, very present in your hands, crossing over at the sacrum. Dr. Stone understood energy electromagnetically. That energy always wants to dance from positive to negative, from negative to positive. You put two positive fields together, my right side, the client's right side, they tend to push each other away. So here, in order to maintain our electromagnetic balance, we cross over at the neck so that my left is moving to our right, my right is moving to our left, and we again cross over at the sacrum. On the front of the body, my left faces her right, my right to her left, so the polarity is more appropriate. So again, we move in until we feel the client's field. We bless them, picturing a golden effluvium of grace flowing through our hands, deeply presence, knowing our presence is the light of the soul, the healing power of the soul, moving down to the feet and brushing off. Slowly, very present in our hands, really, really moving down all the way to the feet, flicking our fingers off towards the earth. These contacts, slow contacts on the front of the body, tend to put the client to sleep. And we want to wake them up because it's the end of the session. So we make a contact with one hand on the sacrum, one hand on the navel, and we draw the energy upward, drawing the hands together at the lips and shaking off. Deep breath, drawing the energy up to the lips and shaking off. This is a stimulating contact to wake the client up after the session. Now the client has been receptive during this time. It's useful to look into their eyes, the window of the soul. Often there's a very deep part of the client expressing a profound gratitude for the session. And here you want to invite the client to hug you so that they can move from being receptive to active and part of the balancing, left to left, heart to heart. You should hold the hug until you feel a still point. Don't let the hug be just a quick ritual. Hang out there until you feel a profound merging of the hearts in a still point of balanced energy. I'm very happy to have to introduce you to this very simple and yet very powerful energy balancing technique that's safe to be used with any disease condition, any constitutional type. Again, in polarity therapy, we work with health rather than disease. And our therapy is a non-violent therapy that does no harm. So you can use this polarity, energy balancing technique in any condition. Thank you for your attention. Namaste. Honor to the divine within.
Let the grace of God bless man and every woman in this land. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Whatever comes to meet us, know the darkness won't defeat us. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Some say the end is coming to set our souls running, but I say, stay strong and keep your faith alive. Let's all come together, take care of each other. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Raise your hands in the air. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Take a stand, say a prayer. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Hand in hand, side by side, with hearts open wide. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Help others find their way. Create heaven here today. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Raise your hands in the air. Stay strong and keep your faith alive. Take a stand. Sing a prayer.